Alternamorphs number 2, the next passage, is way, way, way better than the first book by a number of ways. First off, instead of playing your fake extreme sports loving self, you are basically quantum leaping into David for this outing, though no one explicitly calls you David. Instead of the book assuming things about you, you are instead taking control of a pre-existing character. It kind of sets an interesting precedent about each of these books taking place when a character gets morphing powers. I'm sure if they did a third one, it would have you playing one of the auxiliaries. Playing as David also gives the reader access to scenes we didn't get to see in the main series, like David finding the morphing cube originally. We get to witness you as him messing around the construction site, venting off steam for being the new kid for the 7 bajillionth time, throwing rocks at a concrete wall until it crumbles, revealing the hidden cube inside. It's the nearest we're going to get to a David-narrated book, and for that, at least it has a little value for regular series readers. It also creates a sense of unease with the reader if they're familiar with how the David trilogy played out, knowing that this character is a turncoat, wondering if your choices are going to affect if you become a villain or not. That's an interesting place to put a reader. The nearest comparison I can think of is playing Naked Snake in Metal Gear Solid 3 with the foreknowledge that this character is going to be Big Boss in future continuity. Alas, this book doesn't take advantage of this idea, but at least for the first third of it in your first read-through, you do kind of wonder. So you know how this story goes. You find the blue box, take it home, and try to sell it on mid-1990s Craigslist, only to have the Animorphs and the Yeerks attack your house at the same time to have the craziest fight scene of all time. Visor 3 demands you hand over the morphing cube, but of course you get to choose. Yes, the first choice in this book is whether or not you hand over the morphing cube. That's another thing this book has over the first one. You get to make choices that aren't just which morph do you use. There's still a few of those, but it's not the majority. You also don't get to dictate what the other Animorphs morph, like in the second half of the first book, which was just weird. Of course, doing what Visor 3 wants is a bad idea and will turn you and your family to controllers, but at least you had the option. If you're smart, you end up with the Animorphs and are given morphing powers, but before you can do anything else, the world freezes and everyone's favorite omnipotent sugar daddy shows up. I am the Ellimist. Are you an alien? You ask. In a manner of speaking. Did you stop everything? You ask. Yes. How? You ask. From your perspective, I am an all-powerful being. Human perspective, however, is extremely limited. You stopped the rain? Yes. You relax a hair. Almost. This Ellimist, whatever it is, doesn't seem to mean you any harm. Why? You ask. Because you've angered me! You feel a chill crawl through your body as the sunlight blinks out. You're in total darkness, floating in a featureless void, no up, no down, and the Ellimist's voice comes from everywhere at once, and from nowhere. I'm sorry, you stutter. What did I do? You have altered the strands of space-time, and I don't feel like keeping consistent with the voices. Yikes. What jumped up the Ellimist's butt? He is seriously pissed off for some reason in a very out-of-character way. And you'd be forgiven in initially thinking this was something that the Krayak or the Drode pretending to be the Ellimist would do. But nope, the Ellimist is just an asshole in this continuity. And what exactly did you, the Quasi-David, do that altered space-time? Unless he's not really talking to Quasi-David. Unless he's so hateful because he's encountering the one being in the universe that's more powerful than him. The reader. The Ellimist can alter the Animorphs universe, but it doesn't exist at all if nobody observes it. And here the all-powerful reader has a way of getting into the narrative and changing it themselves, directly challenging the supposed omnipotence of the Ellimist. We are to the Ellimist what Cthulhu is to us, capable of wiping out existence with a shrug, and if some Lovecraftian horror started poking and prodding your reality, you might get a little defensive as well. That, or it's just a horrible character botch. The Ellimist then gives you two choices, choice A and choice B, without any details to help you make a choice. He then tells you that if you do poorly, you'll die, because the Ellimist is a psychopath now. But hey, at least this book has one branching path, which is more than can be said about the last one. Since there's no way to make an informed decision here, we're not going to make one either. In fact, let's kick it up a notch. Grab a dice and roll it. If you get 1 or 2, click here. If you get 3 or 4, click here. If you get 5 or 6, click here. 2 of these options go to the 2 branching paths presented in the book. One of them is a complete fabrication, my fake review of a part of this book that doesn't exist. Go on. Let fate decide how this review ends.